Hello, Randi Rain here, and I'm back, just like I said I would be, attacking again this Soma Sonic robot. He just thought I would let it go. Nope, this is
Randi Robot Garage.
So when I refurbished this robot, it didn't come out to my complete satisfaction. It just wasn't good enough. But then again, everything went wrong with it. The plastic was malformed. The gears were just crumbling away. The electronics didn't work. Everything but the plastic body I had to redo, and I can do it better. And one of the biggest problems was the gears. But now, I've got gears. I've got big gears. I've got medium-sized gears. I've got crown gears, small gears, smaller gears. I even have some worm drive gears and whatever those kind of gears are called. I even got pulleys and belts. I'm prepared now. So in the last video, people commented that I didn't go into detail with the electronics and how I did it. So I'm going to do that too. I'll fix that, fix these gears, so let's get started. First thing to do is to take my working one here and find out what those gears are supposed to be. And this comes off. Okay, start with this one. Need to replace that one. Okay, it's one of these. It's not that one, but close. But this one. No, not really. That one's too small. There it is. It's close. Closest so far. But then it could be one of these as well. Okay, well that one's my best shot so far, but the little bore is a little big. But it's the same gear at least. Time to move to the next one. So it turns out that the closest thing I have to replace these gears are the gears that are already inside that other robot. But all is not lost, I have an idea. Notice that this center gear here is bigger than this one. But on the replacements, they're going to be the same. Okay, remember that. So this robot can go back together. And now this guy can open up. Okay, if we look at the gears here, so the motor has this gear, and it's turning this gear. And this is the same size gear that was on the original one. And now this gear right here that's connected to it, that's the same size as well, and it connects to here, to this gear. And then this is the gear that's supposed to have a bigger one to connect to here. And that's why this one can slip. So, since I don't have a bigger gear that for this size gear on this, I'll just make this gear bigger. Okay, now this gear that's on here is the original gear, and it's not in good shape. It is cracking. You can see some grease in the crack right there. So I'm going to try one size bigger, but I am going to have to drill out the bore here. It's a little small. Maybe. Maybe. Well, that won't work. Wait a minute. This gear is a little bit bigger than that one that's on there, and it's smaller than the one I drilled out. Alright, try this one. That don't seem to work either. Alright, that ain't working, so one last try. I'm going to take this gear off, and I'm going to replace it with a bigger one. And now, I'm going to try to find a gear that will work there. That doesn't seem to be working. Okay, try an 8-tooth gear on the motor. Then that one's a little bit bigger. That might work. Okay, not sure how much I achieved here, but it may be better. Time to test. Okay, it's definitely much tighter now, so maybe it'll work better. It's definitely tighter and not going to slip now. Now, when I did this robot last, some people said they wanted to see how I did the programming of the chip and everything, and I didn't show that. And I think I even improved it, so I'm going to show you this time. So my first idea was to monitor the ambient noise in the room and then just look for a spike in loud noises. And this was my attempt at that. It wasn't perfect, it has some issues, and so I really didn't like it. So I then figured out that the little potentiometer on the sensor can be turned so it only detects loud noises. So cuts out anything low, so I don't have to worry about motor hum and all that stuff. It's only going to sense something very, very loud. So with that idea, I just created this, and basically what it does is this first one up here, these are all just my comments, and then the top here it says this disconnect. Disconnect is you have to turn off C5 because C5 is the serial in when you program the chip, and so it's always expecting that, so you have to, if you're going to use C5, you have to disconnect it. So that's what that does. And you have to jump start it if you want to reprogram it again. But anyway, this part here, this is just declaring what pins are what. Starting from right to left, this first one is pin C0, and then all the way over here is C5. And then you can declare if they're going to be a 1 or a 0. And so in this case, pin C0 here is becoming a 1. And then I declare a variable here. This is just MM, probably for motor. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but it's being declared a bit. So it's either going to be a 0 or a 1. And here I declare it as a 0. And then I create a do loop. And this is what I really learned with the serial thing, is that I need to make sure I get something. So what I did was B10 is just a memory address. I could put a variable onto B10 if I wanted to, but I'm just using it just as the straight up memory address. So B10 equals 0. And then I have this loop here, and what happens is it loops and it keeps getting in the input from the sensor, putting it into B10, And if it ever gets above 1, well, then it's going to exit this loop. It comes down to here to this if and then statement. And so if mm equals 0, which it does, then mm equals 1, and then it turns off pin C0, turns on pin C1, which is switching the motor back and forth. It's not going to do this one, but mm now equals 1, so it comes out here, does a little pause, comes back up to here, clears out B10 memory address, but then it gets the input from the serial device, and it does that until it actually gets something. And now it's going to be mm equals 1, so it's going to come down here and it's going to turn off pin C1 and turn on pin C0. So it's turning the motor one direction and back and forth. This is the very simple way of doing this, but it has one problem. If a loud noise happens and stays on, then this motor is going to keep flip-flopping back and forth every 1 second. So I came up with this. So basically it's still clearing the B10 memory address. It gets it, and then it's going to toggle back and forth here. So the toggle, all it's doing is it makes it has to go silent again before it works. So if something loud happens and it turns on, it's only going to turn the motor once, and that thing's going to have to stop being loud before it does it again. So that way it won't keep flip-flopping back and forth, and that's all that does. And this is the final one. Basically, that's how it works.
That don't make no sense.
When I come back hard. There it is, the Soma Sonic robot refurbished.
What happened? I won.
Now, I've been playing with this, and what I learned was a loud whistle sets it off really well. Now, when I was a kid, I learned to whistle very loudly. Now, you may have seen people take the 2 fingers, stick it in their mouth, and do that whistle. Well, I don't do that one. There's also this weird one where they pinch the bottom of their lip. I don't do that one either. This one requires no hands whatsoever, but it's extremely loud. So basically you cover your teeth with your lips and you push your tongue up front and make a little wedge for it to go through, and you put out a big burst of air. You can't just blow. Yeah, does that. You want to like that. Well, I can control this robot with those whistles. So you ready to see it in action? Okay, so I'm better at it sometimes at other times. Well, check this out. So there it is, a working sonic robot. So now it can go set up on the shelf. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I sure would appreciate a like. That would help me out a lot. I want to thank these people right here. These are patrons. These are people helping me out. I appreciate every single one of them. I'm amazed at them. If you want to become a patron, there is a link below, as well as one of those PayPal tip jar thingy bobbers, whatever. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That was
Randi Robot Garage.